Oh, thanks, Scott. Oh, wait.
Scott, your thoughts?
Scott. Is he not there?
Back to you in the studio.
Episode 8. The Ocho! This is the Ocho!
Episode 8.
The Ocho! The Ocho.
Episode 8.
The Ocho.
Episode 8.
The Ocho. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter. You can follow me at The Blade Job Show. Follow Tommy Collins at Blade Job Collins. And follow Scott Perkins at High Voltage 1987. You can also check us out on the web. How can they do that, Tommy Collins?
Well, all you got to do is just head on over to thebladejob.com, or you can check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/thebladejob.
And also check us out on YouTube. Just follow the link. It's somewhere. Or you're already on it.
Oh, you do something for yourself instead of us spoon feeding you every bit of information, huh? Yeah, fuck you. Yo, fuck this.
So you just say episode 8.
Episode 8.
The Ocho.
Ocho. Take it away, James.
Consummate professionals.
So, we went to a Beyond Wrestling show recently.
Yeah, we did.
And we saw a very interesting match that I had never actually seen. We saw a 15,000 thumbtacks match.
There was a lot of thumbtacks.
There was a lot of thumbtacks.
Yeah. I was pulling them out of my shoe.
I have 4 of
Yesterday?
them.
Yeah.
Yesterday. Weeks
I pulled
later.
several out of my shoe.
There's a lot of different interesting match types. And that
Tag
is
team matches.
Tag team match. The next match.
Fuck you.
It's tag team match, playa.
It's tag. You have to fight the Undertaker.
So some tag team matches are good. You know, there's a lot of gimmicked matches throughout the annals
tables.
of professional wrestling history.
Throughout the annals.
All of the annals. So we, as spontaneous as have not discussed the fact that this entire episode is going to be about our favorite match types
and least favorite.
and least favorite because
there's plenty I hate.
And we also like complaining about stuff.
I love complaining about stuff.
I love complaining.
Remember that time they had
people.
the WrestleMania 25 Divas Battle Royal?
You mean the one Santino won?
Yeah.
Yeah, what about it?
Greatest match of all time.
Did you not enjoy that?
That match sucked.
Oh,
Yo,
okay.
remember that time they had a women's Money in the Bank match?
Yeah.
And a dude won that one too?
Yeah, what about
So
it?
what you're saying is Vince McMahon hates women.
Yeah.
It got really quiet for a second.
I
and
didn't
feel
say
awkward.
that.
I'll say it. He hates women. Vince McMahon hates women.
It's funny because they're, you know, we talked about it in episode 1, which you can go check out right now. That there was a women's revolution in WWE, and then they completely botched it because they decided not to focus on women wrestlers and just focus on nonsensical bullshit.
I watched Bayley Sasha Banks last night from TakeOver Brooklyn. It was a good match.
Well, yeah, that was NXT. Yeah. NXT has quality women's talent, like utilized properly.
Yeah,
women's talent. But we're getting off topic. The women also have some great gimmick matches that didn't suck. You know, when they're not giving them pink tables and like ladders with tassels on them or some crap.
Did that happen?
I don't know, but it did in my head.
That's weird.
The pink tables happened.
Did it?
Oh yeah.
When?
Natalia and someone else. I don't know. It was a women. It was. I'm sorry. It was a Divas Championship match.
That sounds like a diva.
That's depressing.
The tables were pink.
That's depressing.
Because, you know, you're not that far away from a bra and panties match when you have pink tables.
Let's talk about something else.
What
I hate tables matches.
You do hate
okay.
tables matches. You've brought that up. But so why do you hate tables matches?
I feel like
Cite your work. Use examples.
Alexa Bliss versus Becky Lynch was that at TLC? This past TLC, I think it was, and they had a tables match, and it was just like she fell off the ring into a table accidentally. They're very anticlimactic.
Well, it used to be, the rule used to be it had to be an offensive move.
Yeah. And that makes sense. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. Because then, watching the Dudleys 3D somebody through a table, that's awesome as shit. Watching, who else is great going through tables?
Mae Young.
A 1,000-year-old woman. It's wonderful watching, it was wonderful as a child. But, no, I just think now that it's, you can fall through this table accidentally and you lose the fucking match.
It's unfortunate because we, obviously being based in New England, we have access to some really fantastic independent organizations around here, such as Beyond Wrestling and Limitless Wrestling, Chaotic Wrestling, and all of these cheap pops.
Lucky Pro
Blitzkrieg
Wrestling.
Pro, Lucky Pro. These are great. Love us, please. Tables are expensive. I've looked at buying like wooden tables for wrestling purposes, and they're like $180.
It's cheaper to just build your own.
Or use like doors, like Beyond
Yeah,
does.
use doors.
But like, think of what we could get in the indies if tables were readily available for a lot of these guys. I mean, you see tables here and there, but it's usually you see table and it's like something that's clearly been used at a flea market for the past 15 years, and they probably bought it at said flea market for like $10.
Yeah.
Like, we could see some great stuff, because my counterpoint to you is Royal Rumble 2000, Dudley's versus Hardy's tag team table match. Probably the best tables match of all time, because of that whole, it had to be an offensive move. So you got plenty of tables of, the Hardys obviously are high flyers, botched spots where, not botched spots, but, they miss, they go through a table. There's that one sequence, if you remember, where Matt goes through one table, Devon gets out of the way, and then he sidestep and Jeff comes flying out of the ring and goes through the other table. 2 table spots in 5 seconds. The match doesn't end because they were just, you missed.
Right. And that, like, if they would go back, they easily can, but if they were to go back to something like that, that would be awesome. And
right, that's the big point, is that it's the stipulation that it has to be an offensive move.
right.
Not Big Show stepping through the table against Cody Rhodes.
Right.
Nonsense.
Right.
Shit like that is nonsense. And if you, like, I feel as if you're paying these wrestlers lots of money to wrestle, no matter if it is a small indie show or WWE. Get the most out of it. I feel like it sucks half-assing stuff, and I feel like that is a half-ass cop-out. Just Big Show stepping through a table. I'm so big.
WWE seems to have an aversion to tables anyways, not in the sense of they don't use them. I've heard things like at house shows, like only Cena's allowed to use tables if Cena's on the card. Like, no one else can use tables. And at first I was like, oh, that's kind of weird, whatever. I went to a house show and it was Cena and Styles. It was a Worcester street fight because, it's insert town here street fight. And it was true. The only match that used tables was the Cena Styles match. And the only person who really utilized the tables was John Cena. And I think that's a weird, if that rule is true, I think it's strange.
That would be, that's such a weird thing to have in your, like, I don't do fire and I don't do clowns. Those are my 2 bugaboos. Like, just like weird shit to have in your contract. But I mean, if you're John Cena, I suppose you can do whatever the fuck you want.
You do what you
Kind
want.
of get away with that.
Yeah.
Well, if that's your
You can
least
have those
favorite,
bugaboos.
if that's your least favorite match,
Midgets and fire.
Midgets and
bugaboos.
fire,
Whatever the fuck it was.
WLC.
WLC.
What's your?
That was a good one.
What do you love then? I mean, what's that match type that you see it on a card? Doesn't matter if it's indie or WWE, and you're like, yeah, man, I'm in.
Last man standing.
I thought you were going to say House of Horrors.
Or woman.
Not
Last
funny.
woman standing, because that Asuka Nikki Cross one a couple months back was fucking awesome.
That suplex off the ladder made me cringe. Like,
Asuka, I've seen Asuka take some bumps like recently that it's just like, how the fuck do you get up? She smashed her head on the entrance ramp against, it might have actually been that match. She like where the entrance ramp comes down and it meets the regular floor, but then there's like a foot on either side of the entrance ramp, between the entrance ramp and the rail, and she smashed her fucking head on the corner of the ramp, and it's like, dude, that's steel. That just looks bad.
It's because Asuka doesn't suck.
That's true. I mean, I would cry and take a week off of work and cry.
Just a week? That'd take a lot longer.
Yeah. But yeah, just like madness. But last man standing matches, those are cool because you know for a fact that the two wrestlers are going to just beat the living shit out of each other and do really cool shit to make the other guy not get back up.
Well, it's perfect because when you have a last man standing match as opposed to any other no disqualification style match, you know, you have that 10 count. So the break is part of the match, and it gives them a chance to rest, and it gives them a chance to do even increasingly crazy things because there is no pinfall, there is no submission. It's just, let's kick the shit out of each other essentially until we're too tired to go on, and then we do the finish and move on.
Yes.
I like the last man standing match. It's been far too long since we've had a really great
AJ
Shinsuke last man standing would be amazing. But once again, I actually, now that I think about it,
so good.
I don't think I've seen a last man standing match at an indie show. And I feel like that's a gimmick match that would be really easy to utilize because there's nothing really special involved with it. You just kind of last man standing. You need some chairs, maybe a table, and two dudes who are willing to go the extra mile.
JT Dunn, David Starr.
JT Dunn, David Starr, Janela, David Starr.
Janela, David
make that
Starr.
a last man standing.
Ooh, because that match went on for... The first one went on forever.
Yeah, that match went on a lot longer than I expected it to, based on the spots they were doing.
Based on the amount of blood
out of Starr's head after not even a blade job, after a botched brain buster on a chair, and he's split, and he's bleeding for the rest of the match. And there's salt and skewers.
He was bleeding like an hour after the match.
Yeah, it's true.
When he was selling his T-shirts.
I ran into the ref after that match, and he was just cleaning blood off of him, and he's like, I don't know what just happened.
Yeah.
That
made me kind of uncomfortable, but that was a really
in
good
the best
match.
possible way. And
yeah.
Obviously, if you don't know the match, it was Beyond Wrestling paying Paul in Worcester, Massachusetts, which you can get on Beyond Demand. They probably have it on there at this point because it's been months. That was a fantastic match. And
it's definitely on there.
Yeah, and they're talking about doing part 2 based on the last time we saw Joey Janela talking shit in the ring, which I'm definitely looking forward to. And I feel like a last man standing match would be perfect for the two of them because it's at this point it's a blood feud, and that's awesome. You know.
Yeah.
Getting very awkward stares.
That's because
I like the last
two awkward co-hosts, bud.
It's very true. So kind of, you know, talking about the last man standing, I'm a big fan of the 60-minute Iron Man match.
Yeah.
None of this 30-minute crap. Like we had the 30-minute Iron Woman match between Bayley and Sasha. That was them, right?
It was.
We had a 30-minute Iron Man tag team match between the Hardys and the Bar.
That match
was pretty bad.
sucked.
And except for Hardy losing a tooth.
That was super
and
cool.
then karmic fucking retribution on Cesaro.
Oh, no. I feel bad for Cesaro.
I
Because
used
his
to
tooth
with Cyborg,
didn't come out.
They
just got mushed
Superman.
up. They just got mushed up into his fucking dome.
Oh, yeah.
That sucked. I mean, Jeff Hardy, I'm pretty sure his teeth are just kind of hanging on by a thread at this point, but that's neither here nor there.
Too far. No, because I you know, you watch, you go back into the archives and you watch some of the indie stuff. When Colt Cabana and CM Punk were running 60-minute Iron Man matches across the country. You know, sometimes 2-3 times a weekend. You know, running 60-minute matches. That's insane. You know, obviously.
I'm tired watching that.
Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart.
HBK, Bret Hart.
It's honestly, especially because unfortunately sometimes we have to put that disclaimer. Outside of just being one of the best WWF, WWE matches of all time, it stands as one of the best professional wrestling matches of all time.
Yeah.
That match was, I mean, you see at the end, you see the look of relief and just bliss on Shawn Michaels' face when he's just kneeling in the center of the ring with the title and just going, it's not even like about winning the championship at this point. It's like, holy shit, look what we just did.
Yeah.
Like, that was amazing. You know, and the Iron Man match, you know, I mean, far predates that, and I'm sure there's some amazing ones from, you know, AWA or NWA, you know, back in the 60s and the 70s.
Can I give you my second favorite kind of match?
You sure can.
Now that we're talking about HBK, ladder match.
The ladder, and once that's a great match because not only do you see that in WWE,
you see them
and
everywhere.
WCW and ECW back in the day, you know, but you see that at indie shows. The ladder match is such an, you know, I don't want to say easy match to do because it's not, but it's an easy match to set up. All you need is a place where you can hang a belt above the ring and some ladders. Or you can do like what Beyond did and do a TLC match where there is no prize. There's just tables, ladders, and chairs.
And thumbtacks and swamp monsters and Dick Justice.
The ladder match to me is such a fascinating match. It's one thing that it's the one thing I've been looking forward to every year at WrestleMania because they've kind of brought, you know, they had Money in the Bank for so many years and they got rid of it. And then for a couple of years there were no set ladder matches, but now they've been doing the Intercontinental Championship ladder match at WrestleMania. And that's been something I've looked forward to every year. Did they do it this year?
No, they did. It was a tag team. The Raw tag team was a ladder match with the Hardys.
Yeah, because
fucking out of nowhere, which was nuts because the Hardys the night before were in a ladder match
for the Ring of Honor.
Young Bucks. Yeah, for Ring of Honor, which is fucking insane that you're like, oh yeah, we're in a ladder match for the Young Bucks. They, you know that match was going to be just tons of huge spots, and then 24 hours later,
you come out at WrestleMania.
Yeah, WrestleMania. It was Enzo and Cass, the Club, and the Bar. Like,
and all of a sudden, yeah, you go from wrestling one of the best tag teams in the world at this moment, and for arguably one of the biggest promotions in the world, not in size, but in fan base. I mean, Ring of Honor has a following.
Yeah.
And you say, great, that was awesome, thanks. Then you come out on WWE television at WrestleMania in a ladder match to win the tag titles for your return after 8 years without being a team.
7-8 years, yeah.
You know, in WWE, because I know Jeff kind of like in and out in the early 2000s, but I don't think Matt was. Matt kind of vanished for quite some time. He was 2009, 2010. Matt disappeared. I don't know. I know he was in 2007 because I watched No Mercy 2007 the other day. It was not worth it. It really wasn't worth it. But Matt Hardy.
I was waiting for you to say it was great. No.
Matt Hardy had a great match. It was him versus MVP in a pizza eating contest.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I know. And then he threw up.
I know. Am I right?
No, the ladder match is a great match because once again, you know, it's something you can do a singles ladder match. You can do a tag team ladder match. You can do three-way dance, 6, 8, 10.
10 might be a bit
3v3, you know, whatever. Ooh. And you have so many options with a ladder match.
The fucking Money in the Bank ladder match.
I love the concept of the Money in the Bank ladder match. I don't like the Money in the Bank anymore because it's becoming too predictable, and they give it to like. They give it to someone like Baron Corbin, and you're like, okay, so one of two things is going to happen. Either A, this guy's going to win the title, and he is not ready to win the title. Or B, he's going to lose, and then he's going to go on a rampage because he's one of the 3 people who have lost, Cena, Sandow, and Corbin. I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, lost. Oh, wait.
Lost in their Money in the Bank.
I was waiting for you to finish.
No,
finish
there was
sentence.
no
Yes.
more
Just
thinking.
lost.
It was like I think more people have lost wrestling matches.
No, just those things.
Because obviously, as far as I know, I mean, obviously, I don't know every indie fed. I don't know every professional wrestling organization in the world. The Money in the Bank is unique to WWE.
WCPW does the Magnificent Seven, and
Yeah.
the villain Marty Scurll actually just won their championship. He won the briefcase and then cashed it in that
So it's
night.
the same thing.
It was a 7-man ladder match. You get a briefcase for a contract.
Okay. Money
and
in the
then
Bank, but a 7-man.
He wrestled El Ligero for the briefcase, and then later that night cashed in. He beat Will Ospreay and Joe Hendry.
According to Joey Janela, Will Ospreay is not a cat. He's a pussy.
Meow.
He also wants to
Meow.
wrestle him and light him on fire. I don't know what their whole Twitter interaction has been lately, but it's been very entertaining.
It's been very call the police.
It's been you know what? It's been very Joey Janela.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love a good ladder match. Doesn't matter the promotion. You know, even like the end of WCW when they were just going really far down really quickly. I remember there was a three-way tag team ladder match. It was 3 count, the Young Dragons, and someone else I can't remember. And it was like a really solid ladder match, especially when you consider you had guys like Evan Courageous in the match, who I think might just have vanished off the face of the earth.
Pretty sure it did.
Jamie Noble, at least backstage WWE, still got a job. Joey Mercury back on the Indies. I saw that the other day.
Really?
Yeah, he put out the call on Twitter.
Yeah, he's looking fucking ripped too.
Well, what is his name? It's like Joey from wrestling. Is
Yeah.
his Twitter name. I know you from school.
From wrestling?
THC.
Yes.
Give us one of either your favorite, your least
So-
favorite match type.
His favorite is House of Horrors.
Duh. No, when we
Don't
were
get me
talking
into
about this
pre-tape
beforehand,
Lumberjill.
it was going to be, yeah. I was leaning towards Falls Count Anywhere, but as you guys were talking, it started creeping up more and more of a I Quit match. Mainly, because of Bret Hart, Stone Cold.
Wait, they wrestled?
You didn't know that?
Oh man.
You should watch
Yeah,
that.
you should have seen it.
You'll never see it.
It was
again.
only like 20 years ago.
It
just happened 20 years ago.
Oh shit, that was 20 years ago.
It was WrestleMania
that was
13,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
That was fantastic.
The infamous squirting blood of Austin's
Fucking
head.
blood everywhere.
So now I'm kind of up in the air between I Quit and Falls Count Anywhere.
Well, what do you love about the I Quit match?
Kind of it. For me, it goes along the same lines of the Falls Count Anywhere, or not the Falls Count Anywhere. Sorry, the Last Man Standing. I mean, it's going to take both of them to the edge. Both
Not over the
participants.
edge.
No, not over the edge. Just to the edge.
Just to it.
Just to it, and then they quit.
It's
Just
see, I
Right there.
I
Just
do
right
like
to
the
the
I
edge.
Quit match. I mean, once again, it's not something I've seen on an indie show recently. But like the modern WWE I Quit matches kind of suck because every time someone gets tapped on the side of the head, the referee runs over and goes, "Do you want to quit?" and then puts a mic in their face, and I'm just like, no.
It's a fair point.
Like but once again, that's not the match. That's not the performers. It's WWE's corporate shit. It's their
mumbo jumbo.
It's the sports entertainment versus pro wrestling. It's that same argument that we've been having for.
I like pro wrestling.
Yeah, I prefer
But what
pro
about
wrestling.
sports entertainment?
It's okay.
Oh, okay.
It's fun
don't
to
hate
watch
it.
on Hulu when it's not 3 hours long.
On Hulu?
Yeah, on Hulu when they fucking cut out
Garbage.
the cruiserweights. Fuck.
Well,
They should just make them better. Like let them do their thing. That's another story for another day. I like Falls Count Anywhere, man.
Falls Count
Falls
Anywhere
Count
is
Anywhere
fun.
good.
Those are good because
They count anywhere.
yeah.
You can go anywhere.
When-
It counts.
We touched on this on our episode about hardcore matches when they were doing the anytime anywhere
Hardcore title.
that was fun. I saw I think it was Al Snow pinned Jesse James, or the other way around, outside the Centrum in the snow. That was awesome as shit. They were spraying each other with hoses, and then they fought outside for like 10 minutes while it was snowing. It's like, fuck, you guys are nuts. But like that was entertaining as shit. And you know, when you can do stuff like that, The Rock versus Mankind in a empty arena, that's awesome as shit. Like just kicking the living shit out of each other anywhere. And you can always find cool shit, like chairs to throw at Terry Funk, and he doesn't care because he's that shit crazy.
But he's been 76 since like 94.
He wrestled
just
like 2 weeks ago.
Because he just assumes he's always getting a chair thrown at him.
Yeah.
But he doesn't even block. He doesn't protect his head. He just goes.
Doesn't know
He
how
got kicked
anymore.
by a horse and told the horse to fuck off. Like, oh man, I wish he was my grandfather.
He might be. I'm sure he had a lot of fun in the 70s.
He's not. Like my grandfather's a nice guy, but
is he
He's
Terry
no Terry
Funk?
Funk.
no, certainly not.
Certainly not. I am personally getting a little sick and tired of modern cage matches.
They suck.
Go on.
I don't want to
Elaborate.
see. If you're gonna take the time to construct this cage, you're paying people.
Especially at an indie show where you don't have it hang from the ceiling. You have to actually come
Yeah.
out piece by piece and build the cage.
Yeah, you're paying these people to build you this structure, and then to have a motherfucker pin another motherfucker in the ring? Like, why? Why do you pay these? Like, why do you have these guys?
Why even
work
have a
hard?
cage if
Right? Like, there's no
You're
need.
not gonna use it.
I can see past escape through the door. I cannot see past pinfall or submission.
Right.
I like how it used to be you could, if you got out the door, as long as your feet touched the ground, you were out. And that was the only way. If you could get through the chain on the door, fine, that's great. Now, when the referee opens the door, no, make them fucking work for it, man. Like,
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Like as soon as they like take a step towards the door, the ref just swings it wide open.
yeah.
Well, yeah. That's the referee's job.
Well,
No, it's not.
No.
Referee's job is to be on the outside and to see somebody's feet touch the floor. That's a referee's
Right.
job
Oh.
in those matches. Period. I don't want to see him do anything else.
He's not a doorman.
He's not a doorman.
That's true. He's a referee.
Right.
I mean, unless like that's like his side job, whatever.
I don't know.
But
I ain't at
fucking-
Embassy Suites. I'm watching a wrestling match.
What if the wrestling match is at Embassy Suites?
I'm sure they have their own doorman though.
Hardcore title.
Hardcore
True.
doorman.
24/7.
Hardcore doorman.
Hardcore doorman. That's a great
Hey mom,
gimmick.
I got a new job.
That is an unused, that is untapped, unused potential for a gimmick. You're a hardcore doorman.
The hardcore doorman.
Tom Hurst Collins.
Welcome to Embassy Suites, and then just take a chair to the head.
Yeah.
Here's your luggage, motherfucker.
So
The King of Rules, bitches.
we were earlier we were talking
Double
about,
treat, motherfucker.
we were talking about something off the air that I think we should talk about on the air. Did we ever remember what the name of that weird fucking match with Al Snow and the Big Boss Man was with the dogs?
the dogs
and
shitting everywhere.
the Hell's Kennel match or
Ken-
something.
Kennel
It was a
from
kennel
hell?
match, wasn't it? Wasn't it just a kennel match?
I don't remember.
I don't know. You guys stall real quick.
It was it was
I mean,
fucking
talk.
like great idea. Like it was one of those match ideas where you're like, fuck yeah, that's a cool idea. Like the Bari street fight between DDP and Raven. It was like Hell in a Cell, but it wasn't like around the ring. It was on the ring like a regular cages, and it was just full of bric-a-brac. And there was a VCR
like,
in it.
TNA had their lockdown matches. God, what was it called? It was kind of like a gauntlet style match where two people would start and then people kept entering the ring, and at the end they would lower a top onto the cage with weapons and shit hanging. I forget what it was called.
That sounds cool.
It was awesome, because you'd have shit like, Jeff Hardy hitting a swanton from a ladder that's on top of the cage through a table that's on top of the cage. And you had fun stuff like that. You
Yeah,
know.
it sounds like a blast.
Yeah, well, just risking life and limb for TNA. I don't know why anyone did that, but
Right.
Jeff Jarrett.
Jeff Jarrett.
Speaking of which, I found out what it was, but before I go to that, at Unforgiven of that year, where this dog match was also Jeff Jarrett defending the Intercontinental Championship against China. Just want to say that. But the match itself
remember
was
that
a
match.
Kennel from Hell.
Kennel from
Kennel
Hell.
from
Where it
Hell.
was a hell in the cell with dogs around it that wanted to shit everywhere.
Yeah, and
They-
it really just ended up being dogs crapping on
That's all it was.
the mat.
I need a dozen dogs. Make sure they don't get taken for a walk before they
Who
come
would have
out
thought
to
that a dozen dogs, that there'd be some shit and piss everywhere?
Oh, maybe some dogs that are also terrified
Jesus
because they're
Christ.
just thrown into a cage with 15,000 people screaming
Yelling.
at them.
And the big boss man.
And
Oh, boss man. Remember when he got hung from
He
the cell?
did get hung.
by
I don't know,
Edge and
better
Christian?
than what
And
Michael Vick
Gangrel.
did.
Yeah, no.
The Brood. The Brood was so fucking cool,
Gangrel
dude.
looks like shit now.
Dude, I hung out with him not that long
Now?
ago.
Did he look like shit?
Yeah, we saw Joey Fatone from NSYNC's cover band. It was sweet, and Tommy Dreamer was there.
Why?
Rock and Shock.
When was this?
Four years ago.
Yeah, I
five
met
years
Joey
ago?
Fatone at Rock and Shock, but
Yeah, super nice guy.
that was the movie he was in with like fucking Weekend at Bernie's dude. Sinister or some crap.
yeah.
Had the guy Jonathan Silverman from
Yeah.
Weekend at
Oh,
Bernie's in
yeah,
it.
yeah.
And God, who plays fucking Freddy Krueger?
Robert Englund.
Yeah, Robert Englund. Yeah,
Yeah, we hung out with them and Dante from Clerks.
yeah. No,
That's cool.
the year I'm thinking of fucking. Speaking of wrestling, Piper was there, and I didn't want to talk to him because he
Piper.
looked hammered, and I was just like, I
He
don't
was
want.
probably hammered.
Well, yeah.
I bet he was hammered.
But yeah, no,
Who,
like
Piper? Nah.
Nah.
cage matches. I mean, they still can be fun, but I feel like you need to book them properly. I never want to see a cage match end in a pinfall or submission.
No.
Right.
Rarely do I want to see a cage match win by someone going out the door.
It would just have to be like so specific of why they went out the door, and like a lot of build up for that for
Yeah.
it to be satisfying. I think not just walking out, but
Right.
like they
Like
fought, they
crawling
killed
out.
each other to that point where they couldn't climb and like crawled out the door.
Big Show and Strowman a couple weeks back on Raw.
Oh, that was dope.
Getting kicked through the side of the cage, acceptable.
Yeah.
Nah, it's cool.
Happened at
I'm
lockdown.
pissed that happened.
There was
Pissed you keep hitting your mic.
There was a
tough,
lockdown
I mean.
match in TNA. James Storm and Bobby Roode that happened like that. Was, he hits the last call super kick and Roode goes through the door and out to the floor. And I was like, see, I'm okay with that ending.
Yeah, something like that going through the door. Or
You watch a lot of TNA,
I'm okay with
don't
that.
you?
I used to. I watch no
Sometimes.
TNA now because it's dead.
Yeah, it's called Jeff Jarrett now.
Jeff Jarrett Global Force Wrestling. I watched
Slapnuts.
I watched some of Slammiversary, and it was
Jeff Jarrett.
Well, actually, that actually leads me to the other match type that is pretty new. It's been done before, but now it's like more apparent. Is the pre-taped matches.
I was hoping you were gonna say Buried Alive.
So we had Final Deletion, which was pretty cool.
So
Then
was
we
House of
had
Cards.
things like the New Day versus the Wyatts in a field and House of Horrors that were terrible.
Randy.
Hey Randy, come to my house. It's
You want-
nighttime.
you wanna
Just
come
kidding.
play
And
at
then
my house?
hold
7
on,
in
hold
the
on.
morning.
And then Orton commits arson and he gets
Yeah.
a pop.
Yeah. Is that not okay?
Well, I think it was
Cena
just,
helps cancer patients and he gets booed. Yeah, I said it.
we're sitting around a table talking about men pretend fighting in their underwear.
Yeah, but
none of it
arson.
has to make sense.
But it should.
It should, yes. No, that
It was me, Austin.
right, yeah. It's like, okay, so you were gonna sacrifice your daughter, and then the Undertaker, but you killed the big boss man. So all of this was you this whole time. You have vampires.
Son of a bitch.
You have fucking vampire. Like, okay,
The corporate ministry
corporate
was
ministry.
the
Like,
greatest
what a fucking-
faction of all time.
no, the Ministry of Darkness was bad as shit. The corporate ministry.
I could even the corporate nation was great too, because D'Lo Brown and Sexual Chocolate Mark Henry.
What is
D'Lo
D'Lo-
Brown is just great and everything.
Yeah, what is he up to these days?
I have no idea. Ever since he fucking nearly killed Draws,
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
that was him, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was D'Lo.
Honestly,
I'm doing the D'Lo head thing. Right
I don't feel like. I
Say
mean,
no.
he was around for a while,
Yeah.
but
I think that shook him.
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't
I know I'd
think-
be shook.
No shit. You
like,
put a guy in a
paralyzed the
wheelchair.
guy.
I've never seen him at wrestling conventions. I've never seen him at Super Indies. I've never heard from D'Lo Brown again. I'm assuming he probably runs like a wrestling school or something. That just feels like something that he would do because that's what you do when
he doesn't teach power bombs.
Yeah, no.
He teaches people not
you know
to powerbomb.
what? I mean,
and that's fine.
He was always going to be a mid-carder, but Draws was awesome. I really like Draws' character.
No, Draws is awesome. He played for the Broncos, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Puke. He's gonna puke.
Legion of Doom 2000. That
Yeah.
was a thing.
Yeah, it's like LFD,
Have you seen his wheelchair?
Draws.
Yeah, his wheelchair is cool as shit.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Remember when D'Lo was a European champion, and every week he was like, "Oh, from Prague, Czech Republic, from Paris, France." Like that was cool.
What the hell were we talking about?
Match types.
Match types.
What kind of match do you not like, Tom Collins?
Oh,
THC.
What were we? Wait, what kind were we just talking about?
Oh, we
that?
were talking about pre-taped.
and the House of
Pre-taped.
Horrors.
House of
Okay.
Horrors. It sucked. So
and it sucked.
going back to Slammiversary this year, they had a match. It was a no DQ tag match between Josh Matthews and Scott Steiner versus Joseph Park and Jeremy Borash. So I'm like morbidly curious about this match. So I watch it. And 60% of the match is pre-taped. They leave the arena. A bunch of weird Scooby-Doo shit happens. I'm not even kidding.
Obviously.
Scooby-Doo shit.
Zoinks.
No, it really. Fucking
Jinkies.
Jinkies.
fucking
Nice read, Velma.
Josh Matthews gets knocked into a pool and fucking Jeremy Borash does a swanton into the pool like he's a fucking 13-year-old at his parents' house. And then
Pool
Shark
party.
Boy is living in the pool and tries to drown Josh Matthews.
Because he's a shark.
And then
Does that not make sense to you?
I don't see where the confusion
Scott
is.
Steiner tries to run them over and puts
Again, 'cause it's
Joseph
Scott
Park
Steiner.
through a door. And then the Sinister Minister shows up and Joseph Park transforms into Abyss. And then Josh Matthews takes a tack bump in the ring when they finally get back. And it was just a very bizarre match. And it would have been fine.
What's your question?
I hate pre-taped shit. I just feel like...
How is Scott Steiner still wrestling? Is that the question?
Good question.
So one of the
It's another
reasons for
episode.
so many years that I didn't watch SmackDown was because it wasn't live. I prefer live pro wrestling because, especially in this PG era in the WWE that we're in, live shows mean we get live fuck-ups, which means we might see blood. Someone might say shit. We get that little bit of edgy entertainment that we so sorely miss from WWE's product, like from the Attitude Era, from Ruthless Aggression, from ECW. And with SmackDown being pre-taped, whenever something crazy would happen, they would just cut it out.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't get to see it. And I feel like when I see a match that's pre-taped or has pre-taped segments, it pulls me out of the match because they're just sitting backstage waiting for their cue to go back to the ring. And that pisses me off because it's not a wrestling match, it's a TV show. Lucha Underground does it well with their pre-taped shit because the matches are done live.
Yeah,
the pre-taped stuff is storyline stuff because they're making like this dark, scary professional wrestling organization.
I don't have time for pants.
Did you
That was good.
did you see
There's no
last
time.
week the match AR Fox had in Lucha?
No.
No, go on.
There was like tempered glass and shit. It was violent. It was awesome.
I saw stuff about it on Twitter. I watched Lucha on Netflix, so I'm
So you're a season behind.
like 2 seasons behind because I don't watch it a ton.
So
but
but
It's super good.
whenever, especially if you have an entire match that's pre-taped, one that wasn't bad was the
House
Rock,
of Horrors.
Mankind, Empty Arena,
Never mind.
and the boiler room matches that you said. We all know these were pre-taped. They were not done live.
Right, and the thing that sucks about them is they are too perfect because it's like, oh, you fucked that up. Maybe we could try that again. Like, you don't know if they did that. Like,
Well, I
is
know,
kind of a
I know
bummer.
the boiler room brawl.
I didn't even touch my microphone that time.
I blame you.
But it fell.
The boiler room brawl between Big Show and Mankind X years ago. I really don't remember when it was. The one where Foley went through the glass and ended up shredding his hand.
Oh, the one where Mick Foley got injured?
Yeah. Do you remember that one when Mick Foley got injured?
That one match?
It was pretty
No,
solid,
go
especially
on.
a match with, Big Show at that point in his career when he was, he was slowing down. He was, he wasn't, let's be honest, Big Show was in pretty poor shape in the middle of his WWE career. He
was
wasn't
in
that good.
really bad shape, man. I
was
was
fat.
watching a match. Yeah. He was super fat, and it's like, dude, imagine if he was in the shape he is now 10 years ago.
He would have been
Just
unstoppable.
ruining fucking
He would have
people.
been a 5, 6, 7-time WWE champion.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, lengthy reigns,
Yeah.
too.
Like,
That's something that pisses me off when they're like, oh, I'm 9-time WWE champion. It's like, yeah, you held it for 7 days total, 3 of those reigns.
Means
like,
you lost it 8 times.
So how about kind of a random match type? What are your feelings on like championship scramble or best out of X matches where the title changes hands, like the 24/7 rule kind of had with the hardcore title, matches where the titles can change hands multiple times during the match?
I am okay with it.
If it's done right.
If it's done right. As long as the wrestlers who are in the match, if it's believable. If you're going to throw, Braun Strowman and James Ellsworth in a match and James Ellsworth win, championship scramble and Ellsworth wins the championship twice. No. It's bullshit. Like, I'm not going to believe that.
How about that? Do you think when they have like a championship scramble match, should those title reigns count in the history books?
No.
It should only be like the person who wins the last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's champion when the bell rings?
Yeah,
At the end of the day,
That's the
who has the belt?
Because like, speaking of No Mercy 2007, it was Randy Orton's first WWE Championship win, but it wasn't a win. He was awarded the title because Cena was injured, and then the first match of the pay-per-view was him and Triple H won the title. So he held the title for about 30 minutes, but he was just granted the title, but it counts as his second WWE Championship reign because he had the World Heavyweight before that.
No.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I feel like, with a title as prestigious as the WWE Championship, I don't care if it's today or
Then, now, and forever.
1993. Shut up. It doesn't matter to me, what era it is, and it doesn't matter what wrestler it is. If you hold the WWE Championship, that's prestigious.
Yeah.
The title, maybe not to Vince McMahon, but to the fans, that title means something.
Oh, yeah, that's fucking huge.
We've seen legends, we've seen Hall of Famers like Shawn Michaels openly weep when they've won that championship. And you can say it's fake, it's predetermined, it's scripted, all you want. That feeling of, I just won the WWE Championship, that's got to be an emotional moment. If it was me, I could win the RWA Heavyweight Championship. If you've never been to an RWA show, the last show I went to, there was about 25 people there.
Okay.
I could win their championship and still probably have to fight back tears because you just won a world title in a wrestling organization.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're the top guy in that organization.
See, I'm fine with guys openly crying about it because short of maybe Vince and pretty much short of Vince. I was gonna say Jinder Mahal, but no, he worked for it. You bust your ass to get to the point where a company says, you know what, you're really good at what you do. Like, you don't just like fucking show up your first day, be like, hey, can I be champion? And they go,
You
yep.
mean like Big Show? First match in
Yeah,
WCW, World
that's
Heavyweight
true.
Championship
That's
against Hulk
true.
Hogan.
Yeah, against.
Literally one of the biggest stars, if not the biggest star that ever was.
Yeah. Fuck. It sucks. I don't like Hulk Hogan, like, in general.
Is it because he says nasty things?
No.
Or because he's
bec-
Hulk Hogan?
It's because his.
Little column A, little column B.
Yeah. I think he's pretty boring.
His finisher's a leg drop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
which was big in 1976.
Right.
But now you've got
But don't bring
the
it now.
Canadian Destroyer as a regular move.
Yeah. I like watching Nia Jax do a leg drop because for her, it's believable that, like, that's going to fucking destroy your opponent.
For bigger wrestlers, I agree. Hogan was not, like a Yokozuna leg drop, devastating.
Right. That's why Big Show can get away with a punch, but Roman Reigns can't.
Roman Reigns can't get away with anything at this point.
Right.
Because
His moves are it's a punch and a fucking tackle, like
Right. But
and
God
his spear
damn it.
is not even as good as
anybody.
90%
Anyone's-
of the spears
yeah.
in the industry.
Right. But
in
Big
the
Show
past.
can get away with a punch because he's like twice the size of everyone else, and that probably really hurts.
And he's the Big Show.
Well,
Well, his
Well.
fucking it's like getting punched in the face with a basketball.
I mean,
Like,
you've seen him do
Right,
the
that's
spot.
what I'm
where-
saying.
basketball made out of fists.
You've seen the spot where he punches the chair, and you see like the chair's not dented from hitting their head. The chair's dented from the side he hit it.
Yeah.
The dude, I mean, in an everyday, like, I'm at a bar and Big Show comes up and grabs my girlfriend's ass. Guess what? Big Show's grabbing my girlfriend's ass, and there's nothing I can do
you
about it.
belong to him now.
I'll give him a fucking high five, like, dude, just don't hurt me.
Just don't knock out punch my hand.
Yeah, like, but yeah. What the fuck were we talking about? Oh yeah,
You hate
just-
Hulk Hogan.
Yes, I don't like Hulk Hogan. But no, just it's in general. I mean, that was also WCW during the NWO days, so things were a little
Did Show debut during the NWO?
yeah.
No, before.
Really?
Yeah, because he was. It was when Hulk Hogan was still a face, and it was who was it? Taskmaster. Yeah,
See,
it might have been the Outsiders, but it wasn't. It wasn't that.
It wasn't like full on
when Hulk Hogan joined NWO, because
I honestly
he-
can't remember.
they-
I feel
they
like I remember
billed him as the son of Andre the Giant.
I remember Paul White being there, but now I'm like,
No, it was before
To the
NWO
internet.
days.
yeah. I
Trust
mean,
me, I know.
so
Because the Taskmaster was talking shit, and they kept having him like awkwardly grab Big Show's hand and like caress it. We're like, oh look, this hand is so big, and then it just felt awkward how he was like touching his hand.
Did you watch this at a Waffle House? It's
Moving on.
It's a Southern joke, guys.
I get it.
But no, in general, holding a championship is prestigious as fuck.
Oh yeah,
AF.
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 and as fuck.
And as fuck.
And as fuck as well.
I don't know. It's just one of those. It's one of those situations where, you know, I mean, obviously the number one, I feel, style of gimmick match usually centers around a championship anyways. I mean, the ladder match is typically a championship match. You know, most big gimmick matches are usually saved for big feuds and usually involving a championship.
Right.
I have another awesome gimmick match that we have not talked about. Royal fucking Rumble.
How about just a battle over the top rope in general? Battle
Over the
royal.
top rope battle royal are cool, unless it's whatever fucking nonsense WCW had.
Speaking of which, one of my least favorite, the 3-ring Royal Rumble.
You loved every second of it.
Did
You
not.
fucking loved
Ugh.
every
I
second of
wanted
it.
to, but it was just so bad.
Go
Ugh.
Disco Inferno, go! Just picture a little Tommy Collins.
Yeah.
Fucking-
Yeah, so
Um,
so Paul White won the championship in '95. That was definitely
Are you shitting
pre
me?
NWO.
Yeah, and WO was what, 97?
Six.
Was it
He
6?
started
It
in
was
six.
6 or 7. I thought he debuted in like 98. Where the fuck have I been?
No,
I don't know.
he didn't wrestle that much, but he was there.
It was like 11 in 98. So
But you know what's also good is like Lucha
remember
Underground Battle Royale, where it doesn't matter if you go over the top rope, you still have to get pinned, and then you're out.
Yeah.
because that still gives fucking
Well, but
awesome
then
big
it's-
high
and then
flying
there's
spots.
like 9 fucking people in the ring.
So do
Yeah.
you have to go over the top rope and then be pinned?
no,
No.
you just have to be pinned, so you can like
So it's just an elimination match.
yeah.
Yeah.
But everyone on the roster is in the match and they just go nuts.
yeah.
Like
so you can
They
dive
go hog wild.
You can dive out of the ring onto like 5 people and then like come back in and keep wrestling.
And then dive on another 5
Yeah,
people.
and just keep doing that all
It's
match.
You don't have to.
I'm a
do
big fan
something-
of that one.
Some goofy shit like Kofi Kingston.
No, you just have to get pinned.
Which, by the way,
Or
I like.
submission.
I dig. Kofi Kingston in the Rumble. He'll never win it,
I'm about that action.
but it's still cool to watch.
It is. I mean, battle royals are fun. I actually, going back to championships, I like when there's over the top rope battle royals for the title. I just think it's interesting because it's not your typical match. It's one of those, you know, we know the formula that most of these promotions use. You know, you'll look at a match and a lot of times you can go, oh, okay, I know who's gonna win, or at least I have a general idea of who's gonna win. When you've got 4 people left in the Royal Rumble and you've got John Cena, Enzo Amore, James Ellsworth, and I don't know, fucking Zach Gowen.
I'm okay with Enzo being champion. Cruiserweight champion, by the way.
But, you know, at that point, you're like,
Fuck
okay,
you
you know,
guys.
Cena's going to win this,
For
fine,
life.
whatever.
Too sweet.
But when you have those, like, for the title matches, I feel like it adds a little bit in there because, say you put 30 people in the Royal Rumble the year that it was for the title, you honestly, like, this is their moment when they can pull the swerve of the century and they can make the champion whoever they want. You
Roman Reigns.
No, wasn't it Triple H, though?
Yeah.
Come on, it was Triple H going, oh, no, I'm champion again. I said so.
Better than Roman
What are you
Reigns.
going to say? Better than Roman Reigns, absolutely.
Yeah.
No,
Trips is an all-time. I'd put him top 20 all-time.
I put him in top 5. I mean, modern era.
We can go down the list.
Like,
Who's the best wrestler of all time, and why do you think it's Shawn Michaels?
And why did you pick Shawn Michaels?
well, it's interesting because Shawn Michaels is very similar to Chris Jericho, who is probably the greatest of all time. Oh, come on.
This seems like the making of another episode.
And
I like
we
it.
Could go. We can go.
I kinda
days
like it.
on this one.
We'll make that a
We will.
special where we're
We'll
just
go
going
a
to
couple
complain
days.
about who the greatest professional wrestler of all time is.
Yes.
Doesn't even have to be an actual episode. Let's just bitch about this.
Yeah.
And you know what? Cut it. Episode over. Moving on.